From my perspective, the biggest challenges for the maritime industry are staying competitive, dealing with the green agenda or the sustainability agenda, and cope with the digitalization. It is obvious that in the current geopolitical context, competitiveness has another dimension. Things that were taken for granted cannot no longer be taken for granted. And you see actually also a positive evolution in the mindset of policymakers in Brussels, but also at national level, specifically when it comes to shipyards and maritime equipment. So, in fact, the biggest challenges will at the same time also create very good opportunities. The main question is how to turn these challenges into opportunities, and for that, we from our side, from SEA side, from shipyards and equipment manufacturers side, we want a dedicated maritime industrial strategy. The top priorities on our agenda for the next 5 years are, starting from day one from the next European Commission, a true sectoral, holistic maritime industrial strategy. One that puts shipyards and equipment manufacturers back to where they belong, but not in isolation, in collaboration with the rest of the supply chain, including ship owners. The maritime industry is much more than ship owners and ports alone. So that's the starting. That's the start. And then the next point is turn that strategy into very concrete measures. That can be new legislation, that can be measures that help us in becoming more competitive, in regaining orders from European ship owners, in making access to finance much more attractive, in allowing us to invest in ship production, modern ship production, but also to continue to invest in research, development, innovation, which is actually where we can be most competitive. The geopolitical tensions have not immediately impacted shipyards, because for us the impact is already there for a very long time, and that is the lack of a level playing field. Where the geopolitical tensions have changed the context is that the policymakers have become again aware of the need to also take initiatives for shipyards, because we cannot rely too much on non-European shipyards, because tomorrow things can go wrong and then we have a problem. So we need to be able to rely on our own shipbuilding capacity. Where the geopolitical tensions have had, I think, a bigger impact is that there is more protectionism than before, and that impacts the maritime equipment manufacturers that are doing business in Asia. So also for them, being able to do again more business in Europe and regain maritime industrial capacity in Europe is very important. And I think thirdly, the European ship owners will also face more and more pressure from the geopolitical challenges. So the geopolitical challenges are putting us back to the table and push us to reconsider things that we all took for granted. The world will not be only about open trades and open economy. It has been the case to an extent. We will need to now balance between continuing to do trade in an as open possible manner as possible, whilst at the same time also be mindful that we should not be naive, and we should also protect our own interests. And balancing those two will be a big challenge for the coming years. We have actually 3 things we need to do. First of all, we need to have a framework that gives us a competitiveness edge. We are suffering from an unlevel playing field, because there are a lot of subsidies in Asia that we don't have in Europe, that we cannot compete with, resulting in huge price differences. So we need to do something on that front. But on our own side, we will need to increase our investments to make our ship production modern, more sustainable, according to the green agenda, and also more modern in the sense of digital, automated. Because that is where we can gain competitive edge. And that, we believe, will require between today and 2035 an investment of 10 billion euros, which is money we will need to find from the public side, but also from the commercial side. And so we will need to have easier access to funding, which is a problem today because maritime investments are considered as risky, and therefore banks are reluctant to invest in our sector. So we need to tap into these investments. And so with more investments, we can also increase our ship production. And that is, I think, where we can gain competitiveness. And then, as I said earlier, we will continue to need to invest in research, development, and innovation. And that's, I think, where we can regain our competitiveness. There is certainly a need for regulatory changes. Why? For the past 20 years, the European Commission had a policy which was called horizontal policy. So the same measures applying to any industry, regardless of a specific sector's need or challenges. For the maritime industry, for shipyards in the first place, equipment in the second place, this has not had a good effect. The current framework conditions did not allow us to compete sufficiently with Asia. So that's something that needs to be turned around. So we need what we call sectoral measures. So where the normal policies are sufficient, that's okay. For research and development, it's okay. But for others, especially on the competitiveness side, but also on the side of facilitating investments and increased access to finance, for that we need better framework conditions. Otherwise, we will not get there.